This is episode number 30 of the Fit Traveler video blog, and today is the first session of a 3-week series where I'm going to be talking about hotspots for dining while you're traveling as a business traveler. What I'm really talking about here is when you're traveling either alone or maybe you're with some coworkers or colleagues. I'm not talking about places where you're going to be hosting business meetings over a meal. That's a whole different strategy, a whole different ballgame that we'll have to talk about in another series. But for right now, I'm talking about my favorite hotspots to grab breakfast, lunch, and dinner while you're traveling on the road. Today specifically, we're going to start and only cover breakfast. So it's part 1 of a 3-part series. Now, I want to point out and at least identify that for a business traveler, there's a lot of things that we don't get to have a routine with. We're an outsider. We're from out of town. We don't know everything that's around. We're unfamiliar with the city or where we are for the most part. And so we love to find some areas where we can create some normalcy or routine in a day or in a week where routine is hard to find. So eating while we're on the road is one of those places that we get to choose to find a routine and to find some normalcy. Yes, as you're traveling around the country or around the world, you want to find some local hotspots, that hole in the wall. You want to get suggestions, recommendations. That's one of the perks of being a business traveler. But not all the time. You want some guarantees. And a lot of times if you're flying from city to city or you're on a road trip or you're running from meeting to meeting, you don't really want to risk trying out a new place to eat because you may not like the food and then you're left hungry, or the service might be slow and it's going to run you late or stress you out. So you want some go-to places that you know I can go in, I know exactly what I'm going to get. It's going to be exactly what I expect. I'm going to get it quickly and I'm going to be able to move. And so those are the things that I want to point out, and maybe I can lead you guys to learn some new go-tos. And I want to hear some of your go-tos and share them with our entire community, because we're probably all missing out on some great places as our go-to places while we're dining on the road. So let me get to my go-to spots for breakfast and kind of point out why. First off, I'll say that breakfast is the easiest one of the 3 to grab healthy options really quickly and on a regular basis. It's also probably the easiest one to grab unhealthy options. So we really got to be able to identify the differences and then just create the discipline and the willpower to make the right decisions. So one of my favorite go-tos, and this sounds crazy, sounds funny, sounds obvious, but an easy go-to for us as business travelers is the hotel. We all get to stay in some very expensive hotels. We stay in some very cheap hotels. We probably, for the most part, are going to be in a moderate hotel. And let's just call a moderate hotel a Hampton Inn, a Courtyard, a Marriott, a Hilton, a Sheraton, whatever it may be. That normal hotel that we're all staying in, 8 nights a month, 10 nights a month, however often you're staying. All of them have some really great breakfast options. There's things that set these hotels apart, reasons why we pay more or pay less. They all generally have really good healthy eating options. Sometimes that breakfast is free and very informal. Sometimes it's very expensive and very fancy. In the end, there's great options on all of them. One of the reasons I say that is like the staple for me where I feel like I really can't go wrong is going to be with eggs and oatmeal. You can trick up the eggs and put cheese in them and all sorts of bacon and all sorts of stuff. You can trick up the oatmeal and put in sugar, brown sugar, all chocolate chips, whatever crazy, and you can make both of those bad options. But just grabbing them off of that hotel breakfast buffet, grabbing them as they are, they're really great healthy options that we all have. So hotel is definitely the easiest one. It's there, it's on your way out, it's convenient. There's a long range of hours that they're serving it to accommodate you. I will just give the tip that kind of goes without saying, but on that breakfast buffet, if they have hard-boiled eggs, which many of them today do, go for the hard-boiled eggs instead of the scrambled eggs, because sometimes the scrambled eggs come from who knows where, a box of powder or something, I don't know. So if I have the option, I would always go with the hard-boiled eggs. The next favorite go-to, and this isn't necessarily in an order, it's just my normal go-to spots. The next is going to be Jamba Juice. Jamba, Jamba is getting to where they're in most major cities, as are a few of these smoothie chains. For breakfast, I don't prefer a smoothie. I'll take a smoothie any time of day, but I don't prefer a smoothie for breakfast. And Jamba actually doesn't have my favorite smoothies. I like them. It's not my smoothie of choice, but they have these awesome power bowls. Definitely the best bowls that are out there in the various chains, in my opinion. So these bowls, there's a couple of great ones that are on the menu. I'm always going to customize it anyway, and they make it easy to do that. And these bowls tend to be a bit more filling for me, and some great options. So check out a Jamba Juice for breakfast. Try out one of their bowls. It's awesome. It's quick. It's easy. You can eat it really quick before you get in the car, or maybe you can even eat it on the drive if you're talented. You got to do that sometimes. So Jamba Juice would be my other choice. Number 3, this is the classic Starbucks. I'm a kind of a crazy Starbucks fan anyway. They've been like a home office for me for years and years and years. I know not everybody likes Starbucks, and that's okay. You're gonna have a Starbucks equivalent, right? But Starbucks is now, they have continued to add to their menu of food items, and now they've actually got some really great options for breakfast. They've always had some sandwiches, but they've got some healthier sandwiches. They've got some wraps now. So play around with those. You can get yourself in a bad spot if you choose incorrectly. So be careful, but there are some good options there. These bistro boxes that are like filling up their refrigerators now, there's a lot of great options there with fruit and some cheese and some different protein options. There's one with hard-boiled eggs. I know they've got vegetables, they've got hummus, different things like that. They've got a couple of those that I think are good options for breakfast. But my go-to at Starbucks is always the oatmeal. I love their blueberry oatmeal. If I'm at a normal Starbucks, their blueberry oatmeal is going to be served with some fresh blueberries. Well, I say fresh. They're in a package, but they look and feel fresh, and they're cold. So I love the blueberry oatmeal. When I'm in an airport, I go with generally the classic oatmeal because they still offer blueberry oatmeal at an airport Starbucks, but it's like dried blueberries in a baggie that I'm not really into. So always the oatmeal for me at Starbucks, then in a coffee, bottle of water, and you're good to go. So I love the option and the newer options that Starbucks is giving you for breakfast. So always a good place to have good options on the road. And the last go-to for me sounds crazy, but it's the convenience store. And as you travel around the country, I mean, you see these crazy convenience stores that people are building now, and they're so nice inside, and they've got a lot of good food options. A convenience store for me just really has options for anybody that I'm traveling with, or always is going to have some great options for me when I go in there. And it really depends on what you're into and what your preference are, and what you're wanting more protein, more sugar, less sugar, less carbs, whatever it may be. They've got the Muscle Milk and similar type of products, a refrigerator full of those. They've got all sorts of protein bars. They've got beef jerky if you wanted that. They've got other little protein snacks. They've got nuts. They've got fruit. They've got Greek yogurt. They've got, even now some prepackaged hard-boiled eggs, which may gross you out, but I get them all the time and they're fine. And then of course you get your bottled water, you get your coffee, and you hit the road. So I'm definitely gonna opt for that before I do, a drive-through place for breakfast, or a pancake house, or somewhere like that. So those are my go-tos when I'm on the road. I know what I'm gonna get. I know it's gonna fuel me for a couple of hours. I know I've got some healthy options. I don't have time to mess around and risk slow service or risk bad food that's gonna leave me hungry or anything like that. So those are my go-tos. Again, those are the hotel, that's Jamba Juice, Starbucks, and a convenience store. I would love to hear your go-tos. Please share them with me so we can share them out to the community, and I'd love to try out the places that you know and that you love. Thank you for engaging with us. Thank you for following us. Please be sure to visit again next week. We're going to talk about the hot spots for dining for lunch options. This is a lot harder than breakfast, so I'm excited to share those with you. Everybody have a great Memorial Day weekend. Send us a note. Let us know that you're following. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks.